This video is a collection of scenes and dark rides that show the Canon G7X camera. The camera is on automatic settings, and these clips show some of the good and the bad of how this camera performs in low light conditions. Right now we're on test track in Epcot, and this ride I think the camera performed pretty well on. I feel that the neon lights showed up pretty brightly and vibrantly in this camera. I liked how this camera performed on this ride overall. I didn't have any problems with it throughout the entire dark version of the ride. But as you'll see shortly, there was one major disappointment at the very end. When the doors open out to the outside of the track, there is a major blowout in the camera because of the extreme difference in lighting conditions. So everything's fine right now. We're looking pretty good. I like that. And we're coming to the bad part in just a few seconds. More than a few seconds. Sorry, we're about 2 seconds. Almost there. And here we go. 2 seconds to extreme blowout. There we are. There's that. Okay, so first negative of the camera. Okay, now we're going to move on to Peter Pan. And for this ride, I don't think that the camera functioned quite as well as it did on test track, except for that last blowout. But overall, I'm satisfied with it. There are definitely cameras that will perform better, the 4K cameras. But this was a mid-price range camera. It cost, I think, about $800 for me when I bought it about 2 years ago. So not cheap and not expensive, mid-range. There are... for the camera in this price range, I feel that it did a pretty good job here. Not the best, but I'm overall satisfied. The thing here with this camera is that you have to be careful when you're focusing on your objects, when you're panning around. It does take kind of a bit of a long time to focus. So it doesn't like jerky movements. That is a major problem with this camera, I feel, even though it actually picks up, the objects very well. I think it looks well. It looks good, excuse me. But you really have to be careful with your movements. Your movements have to be very slow and smooth, because it will take some time for it to actually focus properly. So I rode this a couple times before I got some footage that I was kind of satisfied with it. When the first couple times I was on it and I wasn't familiar with the camera, I was so disappointed because I was just panning back and forth, so jerky, and it was not satisfactory. But the third time I rode it, I pretty much had my idea of what shots I wanted to get, so I focused my camera where I wanted it. And so we got a much more focused ride this time. So it does take practice. So there's always that. There's not just the camera, it's always the person using the camera as well. So there is that. Okay, so now we're off to the Pirates of the Caribbean. And overall, I was satisfied with this ride as well. This scene I like, but however, we're going to experience some disappointment in a couple seconds, because there's another scene we're not going to see at all. There is the skeleton on his shipwreck, and we know he's there, but we can't see him. But then again, that spotlight that's usually on him was not working that time, so maybe the camera would have picked it up better. I don't know, but definitely we don't see him at all here. We know he's there. Okay, now coming out of the darkness. We came from extreme darkness after that fall, and now the camera's seeing a bit of light. So the camera did struggle a little bit to find its focus. It took a little bit of time for it to focus. So always be aware of that when you go in from different lighting conditions. It's going to take a few seconds to focus. So plan your shots accordingly. But overall, once it found its sweet spot, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Captain Barbosa, and I like that a lot. Okay, and as we continue on our merry journey, the camera's still performing pretty well, but there are some moments, you're going to see her shortly, where it goes a little blurry. And I don't know if it was me or the camera. Maybe I was doing something. I don't know. Maybe I was scratching my behind and caused the camera to jerk a little bit, but there's some blurriness we're seeing right now. So it was struggling a little bit there, but that was the only point. That was the only time it did that. It was strange because I don't think I was moving around very much there, so that was a weird thing. But let's see. As I or at least tried to keep the camera as slow and steady as possible throughout the rest of the ride, I think it performed pretty well. That was kind of a quick pan, but I think it actually performed that pan pretty well, surprisingly, because I think I did that way too fast. But you make your pans too fast, and it will be jerky and out of focus. That was the auction scene. It's gone. By auction scene. Okay, it was kind of a dark spot, but I think it handled that well. One of the darker moments of the ride. And now we're off to the burning of the town by the Merry Pirates. They're out wreaking havoc on the world, and they're singing about it. I wonder if pirates really sang in real life when they did this. But anyway, as long as I kept the camera slow and steady, I think this thing turned out pretty good. Seeing a lot of detail, a lot of vibrant color. I'm happy with this camera right this minute. Okay, so we're approaching the end of Pirates. So I feel that was a pretty good ride. And I like this. I think this scene came out very well. So there's that. And where we're off to next? Next, we are going to ride the Haunted Mansion. And now we will not be so happy. We're happy with all the other ones, and now we're in for a big disappointment. We're in the hallway right now of the Haunted Mansion, and we can't see a darn thing. There are all these paintings on the wall, and we can't see them. We're not going to see them until we get some lightning flashes here. There we go. Now we can see something. So this is the darkest ride in Disney. This is in extremely dark conditions. Here we can't even see that evil little candle floating in space. We can't see that at all. And we can't see anything in the hallway. We can't see any of the doors. Okay, this not so bad. But now we're going to go into the darkness, the abyss once again, where there's all kinds of neat stuff to see, and we can't see it. All those ghosts pounding on the doors, and we don't know it. Okay, now we're in the ballroom scene. So a little better. It's picking up something, but still disappointing. There are ghosts on that chandelier. Couldn't see them. When the ghosts finally materialize again, we'll barely be able to see them. Pretty faint. There's all kinds of detail that we're missing in this room. Oh, Canon X, you are disappointing us now. So it gets worse from there. That was one of the better parts in the ride. It gets worse. Now we're approaching the big graveyard scene where we all know there's all kinds of things happening here. The ghosts are just partying down, and we can't see any of it. The only things we can see are just the brightest of the brightest objects they possibly have in the room. Those are the only things we can see. So I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe it's the settings, maybe it's something you can do without the flash. You don't only use your flash at Disney, that's just evil. But maybe there are some settings where where we could change it for better results. I don't know, but I just know this was a automatic settings and this was the result. So there you have it. Some examples of what can go good and what can go wrong with the Canon G7X. So when you're looking for a camera to purchase, maybe this can help you out so you can avoid some disappointment. All right. Bye, boys and girls.